right. So here we just finished up our journal, right? We updated our inventory, and now let's go ahead and dive into the next scenario. So again, we are still, we just completed June 10th transaction. So let's see what happened on June 12th.
Purchase 500 mugs at $3.75 with a freight cost of $50 on account.
On an account to Cuppy's Co. with terms 5%, 15, and 30. So exactly how we entered in the other ones, how do I journalize me making a purchase of inventory?
Inventory accounts payable.
Okay, so in this case, what was my specific inventory item?
Mugs.
Mugs, good. So this is June 12th. I'm going to go ahead and journalize that I purchased mugs and I place it on an account. So accounts payable. Okay. Once again, we just built the foundation to our journal. So now we actually have to start calculating the actual cost for the inventory items. So in this case, let's go ahead and drop that information into my inventory worksheet. So in this case, it is now June 12th, and I made a purchase of inventory. How many items did I actually buy? You bought 500 at what price? I think it was $3.75. Okay. Now, how much was my freight?
50.
It was $50. Okay.
1925.
So $19.25, is that the total or is that the purchase price?
Oh, purchase price is $18.75.
Is $18.75. Excellent. And then plus my $50, you got what?
$19.25.
Good. All right. And because we are using LIFO, what is my cost per item going to be for this batch right here?
3.75526.
What did you say? 3.75? 3.85. Come on. 1925 divided by my 500 units. Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay, let's extend it out so we can see how far these decimals go. Okay. Anybody else get the same answer? Oh, it's 385 even.
Wait a minute, cost per item equals the 1925 divided by the 500, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in this case, this was even. It went in evenly because if I open up and extend it, I have a bunch of zeros after it. So that means this one goes in through completely 100% even. So if that's the case, now that I entered in my new inventory, I purchased my inventory, now I need to carry it over into my inventory on hand. So once again, I have the 500 costing me at a total of $3.85. So because I placed my formula in here, it automatically calculates to me that I should have 19.25 in my inventory on hand. Perfect. Okay. So now we have 2 batches. Okay. So now we have to keep track of which batch everything goes into because now we need to consider what kind of costs we're actually going to be dealing with. In this case, last in or first out. So in this case, every time we sell an item, which batch are we going to be directly taking out from?
Batch 2.
Yes, the 500 batch, which is batch number 2. Okay. So there we have it. Okay, so now we have the perfect information, which is going to be that my total cost was $19.25. So going back to my journal, let's enter in that we purchased a total of $19.25. Okay, and of course your descriptions is also important, right? Who did we buy this from? Our vendor, which is Cuppies Co. Cuppies Co. We purchased 500 mugs at $3.75 each, and we are given terms. If we get 5% if we pay within 15 days. If not, the whole entire bill is due in 30. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's look at what happened next. Okay. Now that we've updated our inventory, we have our journal completely set. So what has happened on the same day?
We returned 100 mugs.
We end
25%.
exactly. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. So we wanted the medium sized cups, but they gave us large size cups. Or in this case, regular size, whatever you want to call it, right? They decided to give us large 16-ounce cups, which isn't good. So what happened here? What did Cuppies Co. do?
Gave me a 25% discount.
Yes, because they realized they made a mistake. They shipped out the wrong coffee cups. So they said, you know what? How about you keep those cups and we'll give you a 25% discount off of those cups because that was our mistake on our end. You could still sell those cups. There's nothing wrong with them or use them. Okay, so in that way, they convinced us and we accept this 25% discount. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So 100 mugs were the wrong size. So how am I going to journalize this?
Accounts payable,
Mm-hmm.
mugs,
Mm-hmm. So in this case, right, we learned that especially dealing with perpetual inventory. So hold on, I think the date was, oh no, I'm the same. I'm the date. So here, June 12th, right, we realized that everything that we place into inventory, there's only one place that it is. So therefore, if we're going to make a return, refund, discount, whatever it is, you're going to automatically take it out from inventory because that's where we originally placed it. So in this case, we never paid for our bill either. So in this case, we're going to reduce the amount that we owe because we got a 25% refund on it, okay? Or in this case, a 25% allowance. And we have to take that directly away from our mugs. So once again, accounts payable is 201 and 150. So let's go ahead and solve for that in our inventory worksheet. Okay, so once again, this is assuming that this was the purchase that we made on June 12th, right? We've already made changes to the one that we made on June 5th. Now, in this case, most commonly, right, we must have opened our packages when we received the inventory on the 12th, right, just to ensure that we calculate all of our inventory. You never want to wait till the very last minute just to realize that, hey, they sent us the wrong cups. So in this case, we opened all the packages and found that 100 of them are the wrong size. So therefore, it has to be the purchase that we previously made above it. So in this case, it's the same day as well. So how are we going to calculate our refund for the 100 mugs?
Take it out of our inventory
Mm-hmm.
from the part where
Well, first off, how much is it going to cost me per mug?
we would times the 100 by the 385.
Not 385 because that includes tax. All right, that includes
The
shipping.
375.
375. Good. Okay. Now, did we actually return any of the items?
No, we just got a discount.
We just got a discount. So in this case, you're going to have to manually calculate it here, right? That, how much was my discount for?
5%.
25%. So here in parentheses, right, I'm going to make sure I get my amount cleared away, right? 100 times 375. And then I'm going to multiply that by my 25%. So therefore, how much should my discount be?
93.75.
Okay, 93.75. Now, I forgot to add in my negative number in there. Okay, so you could add a negative just to so that it shows in your books that you try to return. Okay.
Well, can I see the formula again? It was a negative 100, right?
You could do negative 100, good. That's a good way of looking at it too. So negative 100.
Times the F9 parentheses times the 25%.
Mm-hmm.
93.75.
Mm-hmm. So here, therefore, we need to make an adjustment to the cost per item once again. So here, I have to toggle it again in my cost per item because now I have a new total cost. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I have to figure out the equation here, which you're going to figure out that you're going to take my 1925, right? That's the original price that you purchased it for. You're going to subtract out the 93.75 because that's what you got a discount for. And once again, you're going to type all this in because we have to keep our cost per item to be the same. Okay? And in this case, I have to divide the whole thing by 500 because that's how many goods I have available. All right? I didn't return anything. Their cups are still there. I just got a discount. So therefore, I paid less for what I originally purchased. So in this case, I'm going to do it like that. So I'm going to make sure that I indicate that I need to figure out what my new total cost is and divide the whole thing by my total quantity, which is 500. So what should I get for my new cost per item? 366.25. Okay, so you have a quarter of a penny in there. All right, and it should get you 1831.25, which let's do the math. Is that correct? Is that 1925 minus the 93.75 should give you 25 2 okay, 1. Yep, that's correct. Okay, so it should be equal to 1831.25. Okay. Now again, once again, if that's too complicated for you to figure out in the cost per item, you can essentially just recalculate it in your purchase price right here, or your little purchase your inventory purchases section here, because once again, this is pretty much your workspace. Remember when we first did this worksheet? It's your workspace. So if you need to add or subtract whatever you need to do and work your way in here, then do what you need to do to get to this answer. So then you don't have to figure out the complications between it, right? You could simply just figure out my new totals, right? I'm still going to have 500 at the end of the day, but my new total cost should be the 31.25, and therefore I need to recalculate my cost per item. So yes, you can essentially just do that. That way you could figure out what your new cost per item is instantly instead of having to punch in the formula directly into the cost per item. So once again, utilize the worksheet in a way that it will help you to understand how you got that answer. And in this case, I'm just finding the difference and just dividing the whole thing by 500. Okay. So there you go. I get this answer here, 500 at $3.6625. Okay. So therefore, I solved for how much my refund was for. It was for the $93.75. So now we can go back to our journal and claim that we're going to decrease my accounts payable to $93.75. So I owe less. Okay, I only owe 1831.25. Okay. And once again, what should my description be?
Returned 100 mugs at 25% discount.
Mm-hmm. We returned 100 mugs at 25% discount. Excellent. Okay, so everyone okay here?
Yes.
All right. So now that we finished our journal, right, we finished that we were made the refund or the return on the 12th. So therefore, the next day is going to be June 16. What happened here?
You sold 600 mugs at $10 each to customer B on account. Terms 10/10/30.
Okay, so this guy, I only gave him 10 days to return. Okay, so, well, the first one I did 15. Wow. Okay, so I must like customer A. Yes. All right, so here you go. Customer B, right? Okay, so you sold 600 mugs to customer B. So what am I going to journalize? So once again, my journal is too short. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this part and I'm going to move on to my journal number 2. So it is now June 16. So what's my journal going to look like?
You do accounts receivable, sales, no, that's for cash.
No, that's correct. Sales, good. Because we sold something, right? We sold it to customer B.
Oh yeah, so sales and sales tax payable.
Mm-hmm. So accounts receivable, sales, and sales tax payable. Okay.
103, 401, and 230.
Perfect. Okay. So I sold how many items did I sell to customer B?
600.
600. So what's my total sales that I have from customer B?
600 times the $10,
Mm-hmm.
6,000.
Mm-hmm. So how do I figure out how much tax to charge? Mm-hmm.
Comma 2, 495.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would be 64.95.
Perfect, right? That is how much customer customer B is going to owe me. So in this case, that is kind of scary. So we're going to say to customer B. So what we say, sold to customer B, 600 mugs. Okay. And the terms here are going to be 10% if he pays within 10 days. If he doesn't, The whole thing is due within 30 days. Okay. Now, customer B, okay, we sold to customer B. So therefore, what should I also journalize?
Cost of goods and mugs.
Mm-hmm. Right? We need to calculate how much it cost us to sell these mugs. And we also need to figure out, we also need to take that directly away from our inventory. Okay. Now let's go ahead and dive right into my inventory worksheet and let's figure this out. So, how many mugs did we sell in grand total?
600.
600. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our inventory on hand. If we're using LIFO, which batch are we going to start from first?
Last one.
The last one. So the last one only has 500. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to put in the date. So it's now the 16th. We sold 500, right? That's from our first batch. What about, I mean, the last batch? What? How many more do I need to sell?
So then we would take another 100 from the first batch.
Correct. So there you go. Here, I'm going to just indicate that this is a calculation because when we journalize it, which is the next section here, we need to journalize it as a total amount. You can't be dipping into it's the, essentially you'd be wasting a lot of journal space if you decide to say, hey, I sold my first 500 and then I sold another 100. So just, keep it simple because at the end of the day, it's going to equal out the same amount anyways. You're just adding the numbers up in grand total. So once again, I'm going to just make sure that I'm aware that this is my total that I sold between the 600 items. Okay. So for here, I know for a fact that how much is going to be my cost per item for my 500 item for my 500?
366 and a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to take the whole thing out of inventory at
Yes.
125.
Correct. In this case, I'm just gonna, be consistent and just add my formula in here, and you should get the same amount, the 1831.25. Okay. Right? Now, you can do this as you go as well. So since I have this and I know that I'm going to clear this out, I can go ahead and go over here and just zero out that account and it's going to zero out my total amount there as well. Okay? So there, my last batch that I purchased is gone. So therefore, what batch do I have left?
You're 600.
Mm-hmm. And it
Want to take 100 from there at that 3.755 to 632, and we're going to end up with $375.52.
375.52 because after the stitch it's because it goes to 526. Okay, so there you go. Round up to 53. So once again, now I should have I should have a grand total of my cost of goods sold to reflect as $2,206.78. Okay. So now that I have this piece of information, right, let's go ahead and update my inventory. So if you guys remember, right, we should be at the 15, okay, minus another 53. So I should have a remainder of 2 and 6, 2 and 6. So let me see, if I have 600 units right now, and I sold another 100. How much should I have left?
500.
500. And there I am. At 1877.63, which should be 62 since it wasn't a 10. 5 minus 3 should be 2. So as we keep progressing, this keeps getting worse and worse. But at the end of the day, it's going to equal up at the end of the day. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this a note. Since, let me revert it back one more time. I'm going to make this a note because I have to make sure that I keep that penny because that's what's going to throw you off. And the reason why we can't, check this number because we don't have our ledger. So in this case, I know for a fact that this should actually be a different calculation, right? So right now it is 2253.15, okay? So I'm going to make sure this is, so what I'm going to do here, this is 2253. Oh, hit the equal button. 2253.15, and I'm going to directly subtract out this number here. So then I have a rounded number at 1877.62. All right, because you may accidentally cost your goods sold, and if you forgot about that penny, then you're going to have a discrepancy of a penny between your inventory and your cost of goods sold, because we also have to make sure that we keep these numbers matching at all times, because we need to match our expenses, right? And by taking them away, right, we need to make sure that whatever that we originally purchased our entire batch for is exactly what we're going to cost the goods sold for. So again, there's matching principle is right there. So you can't be having one extra penny that you sold when in reality you only had this much available. So that's just something that you should keep aware.
Type it in then?
I just typed mine in.
Oh, didn't we take the 100 from the quantity?
Yes, and I have to change my quantity too. So in this case, we know that it's 600 minus the minus 100. And because I typed in here, right? We used to have a formula in here.
Yeah.
Therefore, no matter if I change my quantity, it won't calculate it anymore because I no longer rely on this cost per item. I just want to make sure that I don't forget about that penny. Okay? Because when you end up your cost of goods sold, you can accidentally forget about that penny, and you might write off that penny extra. So in this case, now we know if we sell the next 500 units, it should be a total of 1877.62.
What is the 2253?
What is? Oh, that I used that because I couldn't remember that many numbers. This is my previous batch, right? This is what I started out with. I couldn't remember all these numbers, so I just typed it in there as a reference, so then I can type it back in. Okay. So then therefore you could clear this out if you'd like. Okay. Or in this case, if you want to keep the formula in there, you could just use it there, just so then you kind of have a reference point that, okay, well, it should be this.
Every time we do the inventory on hand, we should double check the math.
Absolutely.
In Excel.
Correct. Okay. Right. So we have our answer here for us selling the whole entire amount of the for 2206.78. Okay. So therefore 2206.78 is what I'm going to place into here. 2206.78. Okay. So if you do end up rounding up your numbers, that's the frequent thing that you have to keep track of, because that's the dangers, is if you round your cost per item, right, you're going to get a bunch of different numbers and it's never going to match your cost of goods sold. So that one you have to keep frequent tabs on. Where in this case, we're just off by a penny. Okay, where the other ones you're going to be off by a huge amount, and you're going to have to constantly frequently make sure that your calculations are correct. Okay, so here we are back to the journal, and we need to make a note here that we sold 600 mugs to customer B. Right? Is everyone good here so far? All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at our scenario here. Now that we completed the 16, what happened on the 18?
Customer B returns 100 mugs for a full refund.
See? And now that's why we gave the shorter discount period for customer B, because customer B has been unreliable to us. Always keeps making those returns. So in this case, customer B returns the 100 mugs for a full refund. So what do we do here? How am I going to journalize this transaction? This is this is not a vendor, this is a customer.
Accounts.
Okay, let's use our chart of accounts.
Purchase allows some return.
Okay, this is a customer, not a vendor. If customer B decides to return an item to me,
Sales allowed in return.
sales returns and allowances, correct. That is one of the things that we're going to be using.
$230 for sales tax payable.
Yes, we have to give back the sales tax. Good. What else?
Sales and return and allowances, sales tax, and account receivable.
Correct, because they never paid us. So the only option that we can do is we can't give them money for something they didn't pay. So what we can do is we can reduce the amount that they owe us. So perfect. So we have sales returns and allowances, right? Because we originally sold to them, and now they are returning sales returns and allowances. Okay. We also have to give back their tax, right? And you just said that we also have to update our accounts receivable because, well, we can't give them their money back. We can only reduce what they owe us. So in this case, what was my sales returns and allowances account number? I think it's 406. Okay. Sales tax was 230. Accounts receivable was 103. Okay. So let's first off calculate if we originally sold him 600 mugs at $10 each, right? So in this case, how many mugs is customer B returning? They're returning 100 mugs, okay? So my original selling price was $10, so therefore, how much in sales am I refunding? 1,000, okay? And then let's also calculate the tax on that, right? We have to reduce the tax as well.
8250.
I just realized I typed that formula in wrong. So equals around good, 8250. So therefore, how much am I going to decrease his account for?
1,082.50.
$1,082.50. And once again, I need to make an update here. Okay. Customer B returns 100 mugs for full refund. Okay. So now that we calculated that part right there, can we move on forth, or is there something else that we need to also include?
Inventory.
We need to put back the mugs in back to inventory. So in this case, how am I going to journalize this?
Mugs.
I'm on the 18. Sorry, I put 16. So yes, we're going to place it back into inventory. So we're going to increase our mugs. And then what is going to be my contra?
Accounts
Cost of goods sold?
Cost of goods sold. Right? We have to undo what we sold, right? We can't charge, or we can't claim that we sold all these items when we're getting a refund. So in this case, we have to reverse the transaction, which in this case, so therefore I need to undo what I calculated for my cost of goods sold for those 100 cups. So let's go ahead and take a look at our records. So here, it's pretty straightforward in regards to what I need to do for my refund, right? Since I've already calculated it here, right? General rule of thumb is, let's take a look at our inventory. What do I have available? I'm sorry?
500.
Yes, I only have that account available, right? If I got rid of my other batch from here, right, my automatic assumption is whatever that you see available is what you're going to place back into your inventory, okay? It isn't where we actually have to look at it and calculate it. Oh, okay, well, I made 2 batches, because at that point, right, it's already been 3 days, right? They sold it on the 16th, and now it's fast forward, it's the 18th. So at that point in time, if you continue to keep selling things in between, right, you wouldn't know what came last. You wouldn't know what came first. So whatever you see available in your inventory worksheet, right, then yes, you apply the same concept where whatever you have in your inventory, whatever came last is what you're going to put it back in for. In this case, I only have 1 batch and 1 batch only. Okay, because we're assuming that the 0 batch right here, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So in this case, how much am I going to calculate for my my return for the cost of goods sold? So in this case, I only have 1 batch and 1 batch available, so I'm just going to stick it back into that batch right there. So in this case, it is June 16. We're going to refund or return the 100 mugs at what price? At what cost?
3.75526.
So therefore, right, equal round. How much am I actually going to be returning?
$37.55.
$37.50. It's not 55. It's
375.53.
yeah, because it's 5263 for your decimals. So in this case, basically I just reverted back to where I originally started, right? But of course, in context, this isn't going to be a real life scenario. Like, you know, you could have 150 instead of 100. So in this case, we need to put it back into our inventory. So now, instead of having 500 items available, we have 600. Okay? And same thing here. We have to add back the 375.53. So in this case, this would be, let me see. 1877 62. 1877 62. 187762 plus my 37553. Right? Should give me my 225315, right? What I originally started out with.
Can you do that one again? Can you undo that and redo it?
I just typed it in. I just added those two numbers together. So I just originally added my 1877.62 because that's what was my total cost in my inventory on hand. And I just added the 375.53 back into it. $15.02. Are you subtracting it? Are you cell referencing it? If you are, because I put a negative in my formula.
Oh, I put a negative in mine. $22.53, $150. Okay.
There you go. So we added back the 100 items, and we added up our total cost once again to bring us a grand total of the 225315. Okay. So therefore, we solved for what our total amount that we're going to be refunding customer B for, which is the 375.53. So therefore, let's plug in that number here, 37553. Okay. And in this case, because I'm dumping it back in here, I'm just going to go ahead and indicate that I'm just returning 100 mugs. Okay. Now I don't need to be specific because it's just, it doesn't matter. At that point, it's no longer customer B's anymore. It's just going to go back into the general population. So here you go. Boom. All right. I'm just refunding the 100 mugs. It doesn't belong to anybody anymore. Okay. Okay, is everyone good now? So let's go ahead and keep going on. So what happened that very same day?
Sold 200 mugs at $10 each for cash.
We end up selling another 200 mugs. Okay, on that same day. So let's go ahead and go to my general journal. I need to record the sale first. So what did I sell those coffee mugs for?
Cash.
We sold it for cash. Okay.
Payable.
Yes, because we sold. So this is no. Cash is 102. 401 and 230. Okay. So now let's go ahead and how many mugs did we sell? At $10. Let's double check. $10, okay? So that's how much I sold. I sold a total of $2,000, okay? And let's go ahead and confirm what is going to be my tax that I will charge. 165, good. So in total cash, I should be receiving, good, all right? Once again, I'm selling this to the general public, so it's up to you if you want to put a description. But in this case, I can just directly link it to the second part of the journal, which is we need to start calculating our cost of goods sold. And we need to update because we sold a total of 200 mugs. Okay. So therefore, we need to go back to our inventory worksheet because now we end up selling 200 more mugs on the 18. Well, I keep writing the wrong date to 18. 6/18. Okay. So now we sold 200 mugs. What batches are available?
Just batch 2.
Just this batch. Just the very, very, very first batch that we started out with. So in this case, it's going to cost me $3.75.526. So let's go ahead and equal round this in what should be my total cost of goods sold.
$751.05.
$751.05. Okay. $751.05. Now, this is the number that we're looking for. But since we're already here, let's update our inventory. So if I start out with 600 items, how much should I have left?
I thought we were at 500 items.
We added it back. Did you not add it back in there? Wait, let me double check. I have 600. Anybody else that was following along with me should
I
have.
thought we minused the 100 underneath on June 18th.
We didn't minus, we added it back. And on our cost of goods sold, we need to subtract it out because we didn't really sell those 100 items. We're returning it. Did you subtract it out?
We were at 500.
We were at 500, then we add it back to in there because
Okay, let's add it back.
okay. Because we returned it, right? We had to restock it. So in this case, it should be 600.
Now we minus the 200,
Mm-hmm.
make it 400.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and subtract it out from here. So if I had 225315, 225315, right? And I subtract out my 75105, I should get
Was it 22.53 and 15 cents?
that's my original, that's the 600. And I'm subtracting out $751.05.
15.02 and 10 cents.
1502 and 10 cents. Good. Okay. 1502 and 10 cents is what I should have left in my inventory. So once again, now I have my was it 751.05? Let's go ahead and update my journal here that I sold 75105. Okay. And once again, I need to put some crucial information here that I end up selling or sold 200 mugs. Okay. So we are just about rolling up to 3:06 right now, which is our normal break time. So let's just let's stop here, and then when we come back, we'll finish up the rest of the stuff here. So I mean, since we took a small break in between, let's just do 15 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay.